Hello, hello, hello. Nothing like my mic not fully working straight away. Let's switch over. There we go. Hello. Let's just move me down a bit. There we go. Hi. I'm going to be keeping on the background noise a bit today. Turn it down for myself. Just because we're not gaming today. We are doing novel planning today. So there's not going to be loads and loads of noise. So it makes sense really to to be having some music in the background. And I've just got some lo-fi beats. I do like a bit of lo-fi when I'm thinking. But yeah, into the plan for today. Let me just bring up my stream stuff. There we go. There. Now I can see you guys. See what you're doing. Okay. Let's have a sip of tea. Oh, my little model got very confused then. But yeah, so today we are... I'll have to keep my OBS up because I'm going to be switching windows a lot. We are actually going to be outlining a novel series I have been working on for quite some time. So yeah, I want to try and get it started, at least written, so I can start editing it. But given it's a series, given I have an idea for all of the books in the series, and they all sort of link together, I want to sort of get it planned before I even start writing, so at least I can make sure it links up in some way to each other and there's not some glaring plot holes I have to go back and try and fix later. So yeah. Yep. So let's just think, which one are we starting on? Okay. Right, I am using some resources I have found from my general perusing online over the years. In the VoD of this, over on Nikkii Does Stuff, I will have links to these resources. One of them is very old, and I could not remember where I found it from. I think it might be from a now defunct forum group thing I was in back in the 2010s, sometime then. I don't even have the bookmark saved anymore, and I didn't save where I got it from, so I have put the basics of that up into these planning documents I've got. But before I get into the planning, let's go through what resources I do have and what we'll be using them with. I don't think it's going to be a long stream today. It's probably going to be like an hour and a half, maybe. But yeah, so we're going to be doing some planning together, and you get an idea of a novel I am working on as I work on it. Sorry, I'm just trying to check my model. There we go. Yeah, she goes a bit wonky sometimes. I think it's the camera's not great. I need to get a new one. I have a recommendation from someone who uses one in their videos. It's for face cam, actual face cam, but it is really good. Oh, sorry, I went to sleep then for a moment. I had to have a cup of tea. Some more tea. Right, let's go to screen share. What have I got? Oh, the map. So if I bring up that map. No, that is not what I wanted to do. I did not want to open that. Alright, I am cutting off some of the screen. Just purely from the case of... Oh, There we go. That's better. Because I don't want you to see my bookmarks and stuff or personal identifying information. So yeah, we've got that. So this is Incarnate. I am going to be putting this link in the VoD as well. It is a map making system. So what I can do is I can draw. So if I do that, and then I do that, yep. So I've got that, and then if I change it to uneven edge, it makes it a bit wibblier. Then I think I can do subtract, and I make the brush smaller. I can make it really small and do like that. And if I do a smooth edge, I can do that. And then turn that into a lake. I think it will make it deeper as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what this is for. And then if I add and I make a tiny blob there, got an island. So yeah, and then there's all sorts of decorations. So I can do chuck on some mountains, make it a little, change the layer size a little bit. Yeah, so mountains, trees. I can make those a bit bigger. Yeah, so make a little map there. Hi, Tiffy! Hi! Thanks for hopping in and saying hi! I've just spotted you down there. How you doing, my darling? I'm just showing a cool thing. Yeah, and if I change the size of this, you're at work. Oh, don't get caught or get in trouble. You gotta be careful, my little obsidian nugget. Yes, I know getting in trouble's fun, but still. Just be careful. Yeah, and then I can just chuck clouds in, like up here. And yeah, and on the land brush tool I can, there it is, that's the one. I can edit the brush. So if I want to put on more green grass and make this more greener, I can. And then if I wanted to, no, that's not what I wanted to do. They wanted to make it snowy up here, I can. Oh, you have the cutest emotes. You really do. Yeah. And then if I wanted to make it look all sandy down here, I can do that. So it's quite a cool thing. It is a cool thing. And we'll just delete all that. Can I delete all that? Can I delete all that? Yeah. Base color. Oh. It's got layers. Okay. Yeah, so if I can see the grid as well. Well, but that's, yeah, I don't like that grid. Can I change the grid? Oh, there we go, squares. And I don't want it tilted, but I can't figure out how to make it tilted. Not tilted even. Ooh. Yeah, so it's just, yeah. So I can just sort of do that on the on the water, really. But what we're going to do is undo everything we've done in the last little bit. Just undo everything. Right, so we are to a blank thing. So that is incarnate. That is what I will be using for my map making once I get to that point. It shouldn't take too long because I'll get into it later, but the novel series is about a journey across an empire. So it needs a map. Or 5. But yeah, so this is really nice. I can use my tablet with it, so I can draw with it, so it's really tight and cool. So yeah, and then if we go to this one, World Anvil. So we close this one now. Don't like that. Okay, the World Anvil is this one. And that is in the wrong place as well, so we need to move you. There we go. So again, some bits of this is cut off so you can't see personal information. But World Anvil is basically where you can store a bunch of stuff about all your writing. So if you've got your world setting, you can get characters, places, magic systems. It's basically a world builder's wet dream. And it can be used for writing, RPGs, tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons, homebrew sort of worlds. So here we've got like the characters. You've got a list of characters. You can put people like pictures in. You can do a timeline for your world. If I go here, yeah, maps, timelines. You can put empires, settlements, all sorts really. So it is quite a good thing. You can see I set this up and never actually got around to filling it in or doing anything with it. So I've got secrets, you can make sure that it can't be seen. So basically with this, if other people want to, they can look at it and they can potentially edit it a bit like a Wikipedia. So that's quite cool. But yeah, so those are 2 online resources I'm using. Next up is my plotting grid. Yeah, no, we're going to go for this one. Okay. That is this one. So this is one of the resources I found for how to plan a novel series. And yeah, so the rest of the steps, that's it. There's 3 steps really. So who your story is about and where it's going. Major plot points. So what it's about, what happens. And then the order. So it's sort of a bit bare bones, but it can be built on and expanded. So yeah, that'll be fun. So we'll be putting, so I have copied and pasted this in, so we won't be spending too much time in this one. We also have this one. This is the one I cannot find the link to, and I cannot share it because of that. Oh, this part is from the article where I found the series planner, but this part is from the older link from the early 2010s. So it's all about linking all the stories together, making sure everything passes through like plot holes and stuff like that. And then I've got a bit about characters as well, so that's also from the link. So this is this one here. This is the general overview of the entire series. So you can see I've got 9 books I could think of. They're not going to be full length, like 200,000 words. They are going to be as long as they are, but they might be a little bit shorter. Definitely not going to be a Lord of the Rings size. But yeah, it's definitely one particular things that happen in certain books, and that leads on to other things in other books, like most series. I have just described a series, yes. Please don't clip that, Div. Yeah, and it's just about how they all link together. So that is that one done. Next up is at the... I think this is going to be... Yeah, this is the general... Basically a plot grid. So I can plot things out. So this, again, is from... I think it's Writing with Claire Fries. She's on YouTube. I will put a link to her in the relevant description. That's the one. And again, I'm cutting off the top so you can't find out my name. I don't want you to know who I am. Yeah, I explained to my mum today when I went to see her what VTubers were. I was like, yeah, it's so no one knows who I am, so it's for safety. And she's like, oh, okay. So is that you then? Because I showed her one of my videos, no volume, just face. I was like, yeah, so no one can see who I am. And yeah, it's drawn. She's all bouncy. She's like, oh, okay. And then we moved on to other stuff. But yeah, so yeah, no one who knows who I am, and it's gonna stay that way if I can help it. So yeah, back to the plot grid. This is unhinged today. Okay, so this is a general one, so it's very loose, fairly basic. I'm just gonna quickly do a wiggle with that. Okay, so yeah, so if there's a specific story structure you're using, you put that there, and there are setups for various ones down here. What your chapter number is, the time it happens, the POV. So if you're switching between different first-person POVs, you can pop it there. Which I probably will be, so I will keep track of this. And then you've got the main plot, the major theme. So I might... That is probably one that's going to develop as I outline. I never set out to have a theme. Like, I know one will evolve as I write, and some of it will already be in my noggin, but until I finished outlining, it stays in my head. And then you've got the subplot 1, subplot 2. So one of these I could actually change the colour of and turn it into the main plot, and add a column over here, which I'm probably going to do for which book. And then you've got character arc, so how your characters grow. So you've got your main characters, and then you've got your sub-characters, like secondary characters. You don't bother with tertiary. Usually they're like red shirts and stuff that go away fairly quickly. Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. So there's the hero's journey as well, which has got all those plot points that are covered in the hero's journey. I do have another resource I use for planning according to the hero's journey, which I will be using when I get to planning each novel. At the minute, we are focusing on overall planning. And then you've got your basic story, point of entry, inciting incident, midpoint, climax, resolution. So for the slightly simpler stories, that could be what it's for. And then you've got the 3-act structure as well. So yeah, so 3-act structure, rising action, plot point 1, inciting incident, midpoint, second plot point, and all of those, and the denouement. Yeah, so the climax and the resolution are 2 very different things. It's finally gone into my head, that fact. The climax is the big, with the big explosiony bit. Like, think the final battle in Lord of the Rings. The destruction of the Death Star in Star Wars. Katniss's killing of Al McCoy in the Hunger Games. Sorry, those are the 3 big ones that stick out in my head. And the denouement or resolution is those bits that come after. So it's the Ewok party, it's Katniss going back to District 12, it is the never-ending parade at the end of Lord of the Rings where you think the film is never gonna end. Look, I love Lord of the Rings, and I understand why there were so many things to wrap up. But it does feel a bit sometimes like when I'm watching it, it's like, is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? But yeah, so it's like Frodo waking up after being saved by the Eagles, the Crown of Aragorn returning to the Shire, getting onto the ships to Valinor, Sam going back to Rosie and his children. Yeah, that's all denouement. So yeah, I don't know why I say it that way, it just comes out that way. I cannot help it. Yeah, so I think, yeah, that is all of the thingies we're going to be using. I will probably be using the hero's journey, maybe. I'm not sure. This is the bare bones blank template, really. But what I am going to do is this, because this is the plot grid for all of it, I'm going to do a general overview, including beforehand stuff, so pre-story start, so we have some sort of timeline, as well as stuff that might happen off screen, if you will. And just keep it organised, and that'll be the general overview, and then each book will have one of these, so thank God for tabs. I am so glad that tabs are a thing, and that I love an Excel spreadsheet. So yeah, I will put a link to this as well in the VoD description if people want to use it. Right, where to start? Because I have not actually put much into... Yeah, okay, we'll go into series planner. Okay. Central idea of the series. Okay, we'll start there. And it would help if you could see it. It's not that one. Which one is it? Is it this one? No. This one? Yes. There we go. Okay, this one... Yeah, it's... There we go. That's nicer. That's nicer. But you're nice and centralised. And with Scrivener, I can actually just sort of keep myself here because it doesn't really go side to side. It just very much stays central. Okay, so central idea of the series, describing one paragraph or less. What's inspiring me to write this series? It's okay. So, what is the central idea of your series? Let's make that bold, and we'll make that italic and smaller. So we'd make that 9. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's still the right size. Okay, central idea is why am I writing it? It's been in my head for ages. And it's one of those, the story keeps growing in my head and expanding and building. And over the years of planning, it originally started, interestingly enough, as 2 knights hunting demons who wander into a witch's hut in the middle of the forest. And then it's evolved from there to being 2 bounty hunters in a city, and the witch comes to them, to what it is essentially now of a sorceress lecturer, so a university lecturer who is a sorceress, who comes to the city after the entire university city she was originally at is destroyed. She comes to these 2 guys because she wants to find out who did it and why. And then they also have beef with him as well because he is a wanted man, the person who did it. And then it turns out it's not just he's being a butt. He's actually got a very big evil plan. So it has evolved from 2 knights hunting a pair of demons in the woods. It has evolved from that. It has got rather large. It was originally supposed to be... Well, originally I scripted it as a webcomic series. So yeah, it was going to be... I was going to draw it, but then I realised I can't draw. You just stretch. Died better. Okay. Okay, so... Oh. So basically, this... Okay, sorry, I heard something weird then. I've just switched the thingy because it was yeah, it was being odd. Yeah, I could hear sounds. Right, where was I? Let's have a look. Okay. Right, where was I? I was... Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just want to see how it grows, really, and what I can turn it into. Because so far it's interesting, and it is the world setting it's in. I basically, since university, so since I was 18, I've sort of been doing light world building of this world that it's set in, and this is a chance for me to just focus on one. Well, I wouldn't say it's little, it is a large empire, but on that empire, and maybe just do some world building focused on that empire. So yeah, and it is the most fleshed out of my novel ideas, so it's a good one to do. Okay, so type of series would work best. So this one I can already answer. It doesn't need much information, so I'll make this all look pretty later. Okay, that is a bot. How do I get rid of the bot? That is the wrong thing. Okay. Alright, how do I delete that? How do I do that? Okay, so that is spam. And bots. No, it's spam. And we are at 35.50. There we go. Okay, we don't like spam here. And I don't know how to delete that well, that, unfortunately. I cannot remember for the life of me. Is there one where I can do mod actions? Okay. Okay, so... Yeah, I can't figure that out. That's gonna have to wait. Okay, so I will not be I will be making this pretty later on the Scrivener, and I'm waving at it. You cannot see that. I do not know why I'm waving at it. Okay, so basically the different types of series are independent. So that's things like they all have either the same people, the same setting, but they don't really link together. So they're linked by people where it's mostly the same setting and stuff. They are linked by that setting, but they can be read in any order. So it's sort of like the a bit like Scooby-Doo, like the Scooby-Doo series, cartoon series. You can watch that at any episode, and you don't really need to know who've watched any of the other ones. It's just some kids in a thingy. A thingy. Yeah, interdependent I think is maybe like Poirot, possibly. And dependent are the ones like Hunger Games, they follow on from one after the other. Garth Nix's Old Kingdom, quite a lot of Terry Brooks's books, they all lead into one another. They all, like, there's trilogies and stuff. So it's like Garth Brooks has a collection of trilogies set in a very similar, in the same world, just at different points in time. Some lead on from each other, some are prequels, some are standalones, but it's all very much in that world. So it's sort of like, it could be interdependent, that one can be actually. But the dependents are like the trilogies themselves. So just looking at my bookcase. The Voyage of the Jal Shannara. Lord of the Rings is a dependent one, actually. So we will put that as a dependent. And I'm going to go back to my OBS so I can keep wiggling that one. Okay, what will the recurring element be? The through line conflict, basically. What is the main issue that's linking all these stories together? The characters are trying to identify the destroyer of the Mage University, and then stop them from doing anything else. Okay, so what will the general setting be? So at the minute I've called the world, the empire is Empire of Labalay. Labalay. Yeah, so that is what the world is called. And it's going to be hopping around various settlements, regions, countries within the empire. It's a big empire. Yeah. Okay, what will... Okay, so it's, I think that's, yeah. What will each book take place? That one is a little bit oddly worded. List roughly where and when each book will take place. So the first one, I am just getting my notes right now. Yeah. 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 Okay, so the first one... I just have a city. In the very basic notes I just have a city. Or a town. So book one, and I need to sort that out. Why are you so wonky? Stop it. Book one is so it's a major city in it's an outlying region. The Empire. Okay. So here's where we sort of start to do some building. So book 2 is... it's the Kingdom of Balor. In the castle. Balor. And they get to deal with a duke who is deeply unpleasant. And his son, who is deeply unpleasant. And his daughter, who is apparently a sitting duck. Yeah. Okay, so... book 3 is... this is Babia. Babia's land. So it's basically a region in the Empire. No one wants to go there because Babia is actually a very powerful witch. And no one wants to deal with, like, bother her because she is such a powerful witch. She just wants to be left alone, so people are just going to leave her alone. Yeah, so that's going to be... so some extra notes on that is going to be swampy. It's going to look diseased, but that's going to be for a reason. It is not always diseased. There are things going on in this book. Oh, that's what that is. I'm trying to figure out what's poking me in the arm and won't let me lay my rest my arm properly. There we go. Oh, that's better. Diseased, destroyed. So I'm just gonna, yeah, that's a key point of that one. So, book 4. We'll get a little bit more into each book as we go. It is just helping me get stuff out. And, yeah. Okay, so this is a swamp. This could be a swamp. And it used to be just a really lush river delta. And it has been corrupted. So Babia isn't actually going to be swampy. It's dried up farmland. Yeah, so Babia is... yeah, she's a witch. Everyone wants to leave her alone because she wants to be left alone. And basically, people live in her land because she does keep them safe. And it is a safe place to live because she's a bit like a cat. If you are in her land, you are hers, and she is not going to let someone else try and hurt you or take away from you. People have tried in the past. It has not ended well for them. Until what's happening in this book. Okay. So this is all very... so this is, again, it's diseased. It's going to be icky in book 4, the swamp. Just feels rotten. And that's going to be a theme, that they are coming across places that are rotten and are icky. Okay. So book 5. It's going to be the City of Bones. Yeah. So this is basically a necropolis. Like, it is a city, but it's primarily devoted to funerary rites and the dead. Yeah, so it's not... it's a city in that it's so big because it's got so many mausoleums and crypts and places to give respects to the dead. So yeah, and there are clerics there, obviously, because it's like you've got a place with a high concentration of the dead. There's the risk of ghosts and other less nice things. Okay, so yeah, and stuff happens there. Okay, so book 6. Where are my notes on book 6? Okay. So this book 6 is going to be a 2-location one. So it starts in the forest the base of some mountains. And then it evolved, and then they have to go into the mountains and a troll settlement. Yeah. So there's lots of stuff going on here, and it's getting more complicated. It is at points. Let me see. Yeah. So book 5 is where there's some extra characters added in, like they join them. But yeah, okay. So book 6 is that. Book 7. Yeah. Okay. So book 7. It's a coastal village. Yeah. And a nearby island. Yeah. So this one is the it could be considered the beach episode. It does not end up the beach episode. It's not going to be the beach episode. Yeah. Okay, book 8. Yeah, as you can tell, sort of the book 6, 7, and 8. 6, 7, 8, and 9, they are the least fleshed out. Okay, major city. I finally found a name for the city. So it's Dunwich. I think that might actually be a name of something from H.P. Lovecraft. And I'm fairly certain this is the Dunwich Borers in Fallout 4. So that might need a name change. So that is yes, that's back in Dunwich. Specifically the prisons. And there's lots of betrayal in this one. Not by the main characters, but there is betrayal, and it is going to be a little bit sad. And then the final book, book 9. Is Badlands. I will need to come up with a better name for this. It's basically an area. It's basically a region on the edge of the Empire. That's been destroyed by magical cataclysm. Yeah, so some of the backstory for the world itself is that there is this city that is a university city of mages and wizards and witches and sorcerers, just magic users in general. And they regulate themselves, they have rules and stuff. But maybe 1,000 years ago, there wasn't that. And magic was unregulated, uncontrolled. And people just went a little bit wild with it. And as they all want to do, they used magic to have a war. And because magic is magic, they basically destroyed an entire region and just laid it to waste. Nothing grows there, or if it does, it's very weird and icky, strange. And no one really yeah, people don't want to go there because the bad creatures live there, and just it's all wonky. Like the magic is wonky there. There's been so much used that it's very wild and uncontrollable. So that's a bit about the setting and some idea of the setting. And who will my protagonists be? Yes, there will be more than one. So first up, the person I've been talking about a lot, we've got Diana. The main name might change. Although at this point, for these first 3 specifically, probably not. Because this is what I've been calling them for so long, I am used to it at this point. So Diana is so she's a universe so Salasif, yeah. She's a practical researcher. Sorry, not a and yeah, she's a professor and member of the university board. So there's going to be a whole thing about the magic and the control of the magic and how it works. Basically, it's a city, university city, that is it's about learning and control magic. So there is schools for kids, and there's schools for the teenagers, and schools for higher education, and then some people just really get nerdy about it, so they do that. And some of this did come from Librarian. Tidy up the arcane library, I won't lie. Some people get very academic with it and look into the strangest magical stuff. But obviously, they will have... It's not just going to be the students and the teachers. There's going to be people who need to support them. Most of the staff in the university, even just say administrators, will have some level of magic control. But there's going to be people like need to bake and stuff. And then if they're doing magical item crafting, you need people to make the items themselves before they can enchant them. So there's going to be blacksmiths, that sort of thing. And then dangerous magical artifacts will be stored at this city because it is so well protected. So yeah, and obviously once... I'm saying obviously. This is... It's not obvious. But once people finish their education to the level they want to go to, so some people might not need much more education than the school, like the child schooling, and then they go off into the world and do stuff. So if they don't have a high level of magic, they don't necessarily need to keep studying unless it interests them. It's going to be very much like this. It's if it interests you, even if you don't have the skill or the power level to do some of the fancier stuff, but other bits and pieces interest you, then yeah, they can stay, they can do it. Yeah. But Diana is a researcher. She goes out and does the research. She specializes in the Badlands, actually, and researching how to fix it, essentially. And reduce the damage. So she's grown up at Salasif. Studied hard and she does prefer the practical application. So going out, getting the samples, using magic to improve her life from day to day. Yeah. And she is a skilled mage, and because she is out and about wandering, she is a bit of a battle mage as well. And she has used her magic to defend and protect. So she's quite high ranking. Quite high ranking. Oh, hi 13! Hi, welcome in. I'm Mama Nikkii. I am your friendly neighbourhood koala librarian. I forgot who I was then. And today we are planning a novel. Thank you for popping in. Hi! 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 So yeah, so Diana is quite high ranking within the magical society. Yeah, I'm mostly just talking about this series to try and get stuff out of my brain and onto paper. I have been trying to work on this since 2015. I need to get it done at last. Yeah, so Diana is high ranking within the Magical Society. She does have accolades. But she does not care. So she's not bothered about the titles. She's very single-minded. Like, she's got that goal of she is going to work on the Badlands, the region destroyed by magic, and try and fix it. And I'm gonna have to come up with a better name than the Badlands. But we will see what I come up with at some point. Yeah, so she wants to fix that, and having to go to the meetings and have the discussions, it annoys her. And also, if she sees weird things and tells people about them, they brush her aside as well. So she does get her concerns by the more scholarly people. So it's like she's seen weird creatures appearing in the Badlands that could be a sign of something more dangerous appearing, or magic going a bit wonky again. And she'll tell people, like, within the board, the university board, and they won't want to hear it, or they will think, nah, it's fine, it's nothing to worry about. Our seers haven't seen anything. Or the portents in the skies aren't saying anything. The clerics haven't said anything. Yeah, so she gets gets annoyed about that and stuff. And she wants to do the fixing. She wants to do the research and figuring out how to fix it. And having to do the meetings and the award ceremonies and all the other bits and pieces. It's just like, I don't want to. I would rather just be focusing on this instead of having to deal with all these irrational, irrelevant meetings. So yeah, that is what that is about. Right. Where's my water? Ooh. Oh, I've already been going for an hour. I thought this would yeah, I was slightly worried I wouldn't be able to fill it in. But there we go. Okay, next up we have Gabriel. And Gabe. I call him Gabe, that's what we go with. So he is a bounty hunter. But more than that, he is the son of a concubine and the emperor. But he's not like the first son or the second son. You know how it's very common in Victorian era and before that for royal noble families to have the heir and the spare. So you've got the main heir to the family fortune, the title, and this was always men. So you've got the main heir, and then you've got the spare just in case something happens to the main heir to the title. But he's the spare. Because, I mean, this is an emperor. He has concubines. He will have his wife. I think he's decided he's going to have like 2 or 3 wives and then concubines. So he's going to have like he's going to be like, Gabe is going to be the 12th son. Yeah, so some of this is influenced by Kingdom, I will not lie. I have been watching the Kingdom, the zombie, Korean zombie series. And yeah, so he's not like, it's not very super legitimate because he is the son of a concubine and not an actual queen. But he is still technically the son of the emperor. So there are expectations on him. He previously served in the Empire's army as a general. And he was given a lower rank, but he did work his way up, not just because he is the son of an emperor. Several of his brothers are in the army as well. And he worked his way up to that position. I need to look into what level they'd start at, and I need to look at army ranks again, because I can't remember, but I know general is pretty high. Okay, so, yeah, so there's that. Oh, I've gone. Oh, I'm trying to I'm wiggling around a bit. And I'm getting a little bit low energy because for some reason, despite not going to sleep until 4 o'clock this morning, I woke up just after 7. But I am tired. I had a nap from about 4 till 5:30 this afternoon. But yeah, my energy is low. So I've got a monster. I've got the Mango Loco. I like that one. I like mango. Okay, so yeah. So Gabe, he served in the army as a general, which he worked his way up to. He was in several campaigns of conquest. And he had a lot of victories. And I mean, he was never really bothered about the victories. He doesn't really super care about his successors, apart from the fact they might make his dad proud of him. Yeah, he only cared about them because they might have affected how his dad had saw him. But then obviously he saw some of the more legitimate sons doing lesser victories, getting all the accolades, and he was then slowly legitimate brothers have lesser victories. So I mean, his war is not great, but they'd win smaller battles and less major things, and they'd get all the praise. And it just sort of made him realise, oh, this is never going to change. This is never going to get any better. He's never actually going to be that proud of me. So yeah, this is all very rough. So he's a military veteran. And then once he left the army, because after a certain point he's just like, look, this isn't getting any better. All I'm doing is fighting. We've stopped doing conquest and expansion at this point. We're trying to keep hold of what we do have. So he left. So he did have a fair few years in the army. So he left a fair few years after the expansion and conquest lessened. And it's like he suggested to other generals and his father that some countries could maybe be enticed into the empire, and he just got brushed aside as well, so he got dismissed a lot. And at that point, he's just like, what do I do? The only thing I really know how to do is fight and think tactically. And he just sort of stumbled his way into bounty hunting. That needs fleshing out, I will not lie. And he became a bounty hunter. And he made his own, and yeah. It's basically his own bounty hunting outfit. So there's going to be a whole thing about how bounty hunters are registered and organised and regulated. But obviously with a massive empire there is going to be crime and there are going to be criminals. And yeah, so they're not going to have a police, they're going to have city guards, but that's it. And if someone who is a criminal or does something bad leaves the city, then what are you going to do? They're out of the way. They're out of the way of the guards. They can't go past the city limits. Or someone steals your wife. Or steals, and I'm using quote marks here. But yeah, so he ends up settling in Dunwich as a bounty hunter. Yeah, so he settles in Dunwich as a bounty hunter with his friend, his best friend. So he isn't actually known as the son of the Emperor at first. But then his identity gets discovered. And he gets pulled into a bit more in the city running of the day-to-day. So he's sort of like a city councilman as well. And focused on defense. Yeah, so because he's got all that history of battle and laying siege to places and stuff and carrying out military conquests and maybe sometimes being besieged, he has that knowledge of how to make sure they don't have to deal with that or how to reduce the risk. So yeah, that's what his that he gets called in to help the council with that. So the city guard, maybe some military, any army people who are stationed there. But yeah, so he just gets pulled in to work with them. And I'm glad I'm recording this because then I can go back and see what I was thinking and listen to myself. Okay. So then we've got Will. Or William. Okay. And he is also a bounty hunter. And a military veteran, just like Gabe was. No, he isn't the son of the Emperor. He is I'm going to say the third son. Of a former noble house. So for that one, the line of inheritance went down one line and he's in the other line. So two brothers, the older one got the noble line and stuff. And the other brother just carried on with his life. He had some money and stuff and nobility and recognition, but not as much as the older brother. And then somewhere along the way, they lost their power and just grew lesser and lesser. And at this point, they've only got the name that is recognised. Like, they've got no fortune, they've not really got any holdings or anything like that. So they are relatively poor. Will was relatively poor as he grew up. And because he didn't have the money, he went into the army. He was able to get a rank. He was a ranked officer. He ended up under Will's command. At Gabe's command, even. Okay. Yeah, so I'm missing under Gabe's command.